I'm Debbie Parker, and I'm here to teach you the flute, the most wonderful instrument there is. So let's get started. The first things we're going to do is learn how to assemble the flute, how to store it safely in its case, and how to clean it. So the first thing is get your camera, get your phone, or whatever you need to take a picture. And when you open up your flute case, I want you to take a picture of how the flute is resting inside the case. It's there in a very specific way, and it keeps it safe in the case, and you don't want something to go in the wrong way. So take a picture so you have a reference, and then we'll get started. I'm going to start at the bottom of the flute. The smallest piece with a lot of keys is the foot joint. And the foot joint is at the very end of the flute. Your pinky, your right hand pinky is what plays on this. And this opening here by all these keys is the spot that's going to join the body of the flute. So I would ask that you hold this in a very specific way. I like to have my thumbs over the bottom two keys so we're not bending any keys, and I wrap my fingers around the tube so it's nice and secure. Alright, so that's the foot joint. The body has a lot of keys on it, and there's a barrel. It looks like a barrel right at the top. Usually the identification of the instrument, the name brand, things like that are on the barrel. All your key work is here on the body, and this tenon here at the end is what goes to the foot joint. So we're going to put those two pieces together. I like to hang on to the body by the barrel. You're not bending any keys and everything is safe. I like to grab the foot joint, and again, the thumb over the bottom keys, wrapping my head around, and then it's really important that the tenon is lining up perfectly with the foot joint. Again, foot joint, body, line them up. Don't come in at an angle. You don't want to bend this tenon. It's really hard to repair that. So be sure you come in straight ahead and then twist and turn, twist and turn. And that's how you put those two together. It's very simple. There's a post. There are posts all over your flute holding the keys there. There's a post right here at the end of the foot joint, and you want to line up that post to the last key here and have that post cut that key right in half. If you line up post to post, this won't work well for your hand position. So you put the post of the foot joint and cut the last key right in half on the body. So what happens, this is in our very near future, when you put your right hand on that, your pinky, which is kind of short, will fit nicely on the D sharp key right down here. All right, so post, cut the key in half, your foot joint and your body are lined up and ready to go. The last piece on the flute, and the most important, is the head joint. This is the part that you blow into. Now let's see, we have a crown on our head joint. We have a lip plate, and if you could lift up the lip plate off of the tube, you would see a small square riser, and that's soldered onto the lip plate. And that's really important. That's been machine cut or hand cut, depending on your flute. And it's very important that you don't stick your finger inside this hole. This is called the embouchure hole. You don't want to stick anything in there. You don't want to wipe down in there with a cotton swab. Keep things out, because this was machine cut in a very specific way or hand cut in a very specific way, and don't touch it. So these are all the parts of the head joint. There's a part of the lip plate that is bigger, and that's where you're going to put your lips on. This smaller part should be away from you. All right. And what's nice about the head joint is that there's no keys. Don't grab by the lip plate. That is soldered onto the tube. So you want to avoid that. You've got plenty of room. So line it up, put it in the barrel of the flute. And you're all set. Now, you need to line up your head joint with the body of the flute. So I was always taught as a little kid, you get this embouchure hole from the head joint and you go down to the very first keys on the flute. I press them down and I turn so the hole is lined up with those keys and maybe a little bit turned to the right, just a little bit. It should be just lined up, just like that. And I close the first key. The head joint should be pulled out a little bit, and just a little bit so that it plays better in tune. If it's pushed all the way in, it'll be very sharp. So you want to pull it out like a 1/4 of an inch. All right, just out a little bit. Your head joint is lined up, and you're ready to go. And we're ready to play the flute. But you know what? Let's learn how to put it away and clean it. You always want to make sure your flute is secure. All the repair people in the world are thanking me for this. So we're going to start. I'm going to grab the barrel, grab the foot joint, twist off. I'm going to put it in my case. I'm going to take off the head joint, which is so valuable. Put it in the case, and last and not least, the body. So now it's back in its case how I originally had it. Now I'm going to clean it. The best thing to clean your flute, flutes come with a cleaning rod. This one is wooden. The wooden ones, plastic ones are very nice. I've had metal ones, skinny metal ones. They all work. You need a small handkerchief, absorbent handkerchief. That's what will work. If it gets too big and clunky, it might get stuck inside the flute. You don't need a real big one, but a soft one that absorbs the spit. All right, that's what you got to do. You got to get the spit out. So you thread the needle, and then what I like to do is then cover the rod and get it nice and tight and covered. There you go. All right, I'm ready to clean. I'm going to start with the body. Again, I grab by the barrel, and because this cloth is thin and absorbent, I push it all the way through, and we're set. We're cleaned. Same thing with the foot joint. Push it through the bottom and through. I do that a couple of times and through. Now with the head joint, I think I mentioned the lip plate is here. We have a crown here. Up in this section of the head joint, right up in here, is a cork assembly. There's a cork lodged in there really tight. So when you put your cleaning rod in there, you're going to tap right up to where that cleaning, the cork assembly is. So just gently go up there. Once you touch, spin, 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 and you're all set. Some people feel very obligated to buy all kinds of cloths to clean the flute, or to store cleaning cloths inside the flute. I don't recommend that at all. Don't leave anything inside the tube. That cleaning rod could be wet, and then it's hitting against the pads of the flute, and that can make the flute pads warp, and then your flute doesn't play so well. So don't store anything inside the flute. There's plenty of room in your case, outside your case, to store some things. And you get a flute bag, and then everything can be in that. So that's how you assemble the flute, clean the flute, and secure it in its case. So the first thing we're going to do is learn to play on the head joint of the flute. We're going to make some nice sounds on the head joint, and once we get really comfortable with this, then we can assemble the flute and make our sounds on the whole body of the flute. But first, the head joint. So, like we talked about before, here's the lip plate, and the biggest part of the lip plate is what goes against your face. This embouchure hole right here, you're going to cover maybe 1/3 of it, and it would be good if you had a mirror nearby, or you stood up and used the bathroom mirror and looked in to see what you were doing. You're going to feel that edge of the embouchure hole right where the lip and your chin, where that skin meets, right in there. And you're going to find the center of that hole, right there. Now, you need to blow the air. You need to blow down. Try to blow the airstream down. I often will put like a piece of paper right here. Can I make the paper move? And blow the airstream down. I will sometimes have with students papers in front of them and just to see what their blowing is like and to blow that airstream and to see where their airstream is. So in a mirror, you can blow on a mirror and see the condensation. And if it's right straight across, you want to try to move the airstream down so that the condensation down and watch it go down so that you can get the air into the hole. If I blow straight across, which is a very typical sound when we first start. So if you get that sound, it's okay. We're on our way. Now try to force that airstream down into the hole. Think of blowing down on the air on your chin, right down here. You can think of poo, poo. If you look to see how I'm holding the head joint, I have thumb and a couple of fingers on the end, thumb and a couple of fingers here, so it keeps all the other fingers out of the way of your mouth. So secure yourself up against, find that spot, that magic spot. Another neat trick, when you're trying to form your flute embouchure, this is how your flute face is, how your bottom lip and your top lip, how it all works together. Your flute embouchure, if you're having trouble making the hole in your flute embouchure, which we like to call the aperture, if that aperture is too big, to make it a little smaller, one fun thing to do is get some rice and go outside or inside, whatever you prefer, and spit some rice. You have to have a lot of air, which is what you're going to need for playing the flute, and it helps get the lips together to get that small piece of rice out of your mouth. Then try it again. Find your magic spot, right where the lip and the chin meet, the skin meet. Fingers on the end. Now, you're going to be blowing a lot, and there's no resistance when you blow on the flute. You just blow. So you might get a little lightheaded. I always tell my students to have lots of pillows on the ground next door in case you... No. But stop if you get a little lightheaded. It's normal. And then try again. But pace yourself, all right? And then you won't need the pillows on the floor in case you keel over. All right, let's try this again. I'm going to make the sound. And I want you to repeat after me. So I'll go first, then you go. Nice. Nice. Next thing we're going to do is try several notes in a row. So you're really going to be blowing. Try to not overblow. Just think nice and gently. Air streams down into the hole. And I'll go first. Next, we can make a different sound on our head joint. If you make your hand rather stiff and put it right on the end and seal the hole, you can make a low sound. Try that with me. I'll go first. Nice. So these head joint sounds are really important. It's really good to get comfortable with the head joint so that every time you're ready to play the head joint and the flute, once it's all put together, you can feel your sweet spot right on the head joint. You want to get used to finding it, feeling it. It's not anything, you can see it when you look in the bathroom mirror, but it's going to be a feel, and you've got to just get used to doing it. It's very common for beginning flute players to not be able to find that sweet spot. So you really want to make it a habit. So the next step would be to take the head joint away from your face and then put it back on your face and make a sound. Away. And try to find your sweet spot. Away. Find your sweet spot. We're playing on the head joint. We can now make high sounds, low sounds, and feel comfortable finding our sweet spot rather quickly. This is really good. We spend about a week, the first couple of weeks, on the head joint. We're really making it ring, sing, and feel comfortable. So we spend a lot of time on that at the very beginning, and that's okay. The one thing I want to do now is transition. We kind of started with a sound. You might just be going whoo or poo, poo. But now we're going to transition and start each sound with our tongue and go two. The tongue is going to hit right up front. It's going to be very forward in your mouth. Right where your top tooth and the roof of your mouth, the top tooth and the roof of your mouth hit. Where they meet, that's where your tongue is going to hit. Say that with me. Remember to blow lots of air when you're doing that, because you're using your air when you play the flute. So shoulders relaxed and taking a good breath. Let's try it on the head joint. Find your spot. Hear how it has a cleaner beginning to the sound. This is a who. Here's two. You can hear the difference, right? It's much cleaner. So we're going to start now. Try to make it your habit of always starting with the tongue. Let's try it with some long notes, starting with the tongue. Nice. All right, let's try a song. The first song that all instrumentalists learn in the entire universe is hot cross buns. And it goes hot cross buns, hot cross buns. 1 a penny, 2 a penny, hot cross buns. That's the tune. If you've never heard it before, well, you just did for the first time, and you're going to hear it a lot now. I've heard it for over 40, 50 years. It never gets old. It's a winner every time. Okay, so let's play hot cross buns on our head joint. Let's do it with the high notes. And try to use 2 every time you blow. And let's try it. Let's do it together. So we'll start together. Find your sweet spot. And I'll start us off. 1, 2, ready, go. Terrific job! You did great. You might need to put the dog out, but you did great. Okay, now let's try the same thing, and we're going to put our hand on the end and play it with the lower sounds. All right, find your sweet spot, and if you want to, make a sound. Make sure it's there. All right, let's do hot cross buns again. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, play. Great! I've got one more song for you. Mary Had a Little Lamb. Again, a glorious song that we can do right off the bat on our head joint. Let's try this one with the high sounds. All right? Halfway through the song, we'll switch over to the low sound. I think you can do it. So ready for the high sounds? Let's get our head joint in place. Find your sweet spot. Make a sound. Think about 2. Lots of air, good posture. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, and. Put your hand on the end. Let's finish the song. All right, you did a great job with that. I think we're ready for the next step, which is we will assemble the entire flute together and figure out where we put our fingers and how to make a sound on the entire flute. You're doing great. Let's learn to put the flute together and make some sounds. Okay, so we learned to assemble the flute already. I'm going to take my head joint. I'm going to take the body. I'm going to put the head joint in and pull it out just a little bit, about 1/4 of an inch or so. And I'm going to line it up with that first key. One thing I do on my flute that is a shortcut is I get a black permanent marker. I know that sounds like you shouldn't touch a really nice flute with a black permanent marker, but it doesn't stay on the flute forever. It does come off. And I mark where my head joint is lined up with the body, so it's very fast. I can mark the head joint, I can mark the body, I put those 2 marks together, I'm done. So it does make it easier. I'm grabbing the barrel, and I'm grabbing the foot joint, and I'm lining up. Remember, thumb over the key so we don't bend anything. I'm lining up to the tenon, and that post is cutting that key in half. My flute is assembled. Now, where do you put your fingers? Okay, let's do this. I'm going to start with the right hand. Remember, I'm backwards to you, so right hand, flute goes out to your right hand side. As I turn around and make a video for you, I'm going to be opposite of you, so please remember that. All right. I like to make a 3, and on the body of the flute, there's so many keys, but there are 3 keys right before the foot joint. 3 keys right before the foot joint. And it goes 1, 2, 3, thumb underneath, and then the pinky goes on the first key of the foot joint. Pretty standard, pretty easy. So 1, 2, 3, pinky on the foot joint on it's called the D sharp key. And your thumb needs to be underneath the index finger and third finger of your right hand, but on the tube. Very, very important, make sure the thumb does not slip out. The thumb must be on the tube holding the flute. It's got to do its job, and it's under these fingers. You never want it to slip out. That's the right hand. Now on the left hand, it's a little more complicated. I'm going to show you first where the thumb goes. This is a long key, and this is a round key. And this is what your thumb has to deal with. I used to call this the hamburger key and the hot dog key, because I like food. And but that is a vegetarian, let me see, zucchini, and okay, never mind. But the long key is where your thumb is going to go. And we'll use this key eventually, but the long key is where your thumb is going to go. So your thumb is going to go on that key. I'm going to ask you to hold the flute if you can steadily. A lot of times I have people put it right on their knees so they can hold it. But I won't be able to do that right now, but you can. So that's what's important. All right, I want to make sure you can see this. So the thumb key is facing you, and you're going to put your thumb right on that long key. And then there are 2 keys up here. One, the second one down is the one that you put your first finger on. And when you do that, you're going to bend your finger right around the tube of the flute. Kind of grip it. I got a little death grip right there on that flange of your first index finger. So thumb on the long key, wrap around the tube, index finger on the second key. Then you skip a key. That's going to feel weird. And you put the next finger down and the next finger down. There's a key sticking out. That's for the pinky. We won't be using that for a long time. All right, so let's review that left hand, because that left hand's a little complicated. I'm going to put the flute on my shoulder. My right hand is in place. 1, 2, 3. Thumb underneath, pinky on the foot joint key right there, the D sharp key. All right, so my thumb is on the long key. You're going to have to trust me on that. I'm wrapping my index finger around, have constant contact with the tube right there, that death grip. Skip a key, and then the next finger down. Thumb, 1, 2, 3. Thumb, 1, 2, 3. And you have to remember, we don't put anything on this key, and we skip that key. Most flutes, if you get a flute, some flutes have holes. They call them an open hole flute. And this is an open hole flute. Here you can see an open hole here. I have some plugs on some of my holes, and the flute is a little plugged up here and there. But if you have an open hole flute, that also shows you where your fingers are supposed to go. But just remember, thumb, not the first key, the second key. And if you look underneath that second key, it's a solid key. It's not covering any hole. It's just a key for you to put your finger down on. So thumb first, skip a key, second, third. All right, and that's it. So now I like for the flute to be on your leg, and I would like for you, I'm going to look at you straight on at the camera, but I'm going to move the lower portion of my body. I'm in a swivel chair, and I'm going to swivel just my knees to the slight direction over here. My head is still pointing right to you. That's because when I then lift up the flute, I have a nice three-dimensional hang here of the flute on my face. If I kept my knees forward, I would be very tense and everything would be all straight and very tense, especially in the back here. We're asymmetrical. You know, the flute is off to one side. So in order to keep our bodies healthy, we need to move the lower part just a little bit, head straight ahead, and it'll be a much nicer hang. So now, bring the flute right to your face. Try to feel that sweet spot. Don't blow, just hold it. Wiggle some fingers while you're here. Try to wiggle each individual finger. Wiggling the thumb on the left hand, right here, that long key, is a little tricky if your death grip here, if that grip around the tube is not secure. That really helps push the head joint to your chin, this grip right here. So take your time to feel comfortable with this, and then after a few minutes or seconds, take a break. Put your flute down and roll out your shoulders, because this is a very different way. It's very similar to like violinists. They're off to one side also. So when you're all off to one side, it is different for your body. It's not used to that. We're usually very symmetrical in how we do things. All right, let's try it again. So 1, 2, 3, pinky on the D sharp key, thumb right underneath, thumb on the long key here, skip the first key, pick a finger on the second key with a nice grip around the tube, skip a key, there we go, bring the flute to our face, nice, and just hold it, and again wiggle. That's the first step. Keep your fingers in their spot, and I like to put my flute straight up and down on my leg. It's secure. I'm not going to hit anybody next to me or anything, and I didn't move my fingers, so that feels good. Also, this way it really helps reinforce that grip that your index finger has to have around the tube. You can just feel it when you're in this position. So now we're going to learn our first three notes, B, A, and G. All right, bag. B, A, and G. And flute-wise, it's all going to be up in this hand. And there's a wonderful method book that I love called Flute 101. And this is Phyllis Luke and Patricia George. I love this book because they spend a lot of time on the head joint and also with these first three notes. It helps reinforce the embouchure that we work so hard to get, this flute embouchure, which is nice and relaxed, blowing the air down into the embouchure hole, making the opening just small enough, and blowing the air firmly. It just reinforces all that in this book. I like it a lot. So we're going to start with those three notes, B, A, and G, and we're going to do it in a very special way. We're going to hold our flute up, find our sweet spot, and with your right hand, the one furthest away, come and grab the head joint, just to give yourself some security. All right? And we're going to learn our first three notes this way. So B is with the thumb on the long key and your first finger down. All the other fingers are up. Don't have them up to the sky. Have them close, hovering over the keys. But that's B, and it sounds like this. Can you play a B with me? Let's try it. Ready? And again. I'm going to play some B's and you play them back after me. Ready? I'll go first. Your turn. My turn. Your turn. Rest, 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 rest. And stop. That's B. That's our first note. Congratulations. Good job. All right. Now we're going to go to A. So find your sweet spot. Hold your flute like this. So your thumb is down, your first finger is down, and your second finger is down. Remember to skip the key in between. Remember to skip the key in between. So this is A. Go ahead and try to play some A's with me. Ready? All right. Remember not to overblow. All right? Don't overblow on the A. Here we go. Let's play some A's together. I'll go first, and then you repeat after me. A, 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 A. Ready, go. Nice. We're one note away from doing a new song. So, G. Guess what finger goes down? Right. You have your thumb down on the long key. Make sure it doesn't hit that other key, the round key. Keep it on the long key. First finger, skip a key. Second finger, third finger. Okay? This is G. It's a low note. And as notes get lower, it's easier to kind of overblow. So try not to do that. Try to really direct your airstream down into the hole and not overblow. All right. I know it's exciting, but don't overblow. Here we go. Let's try to play some G's. Find your sweet spot. Let's play some G's together. Ready? Good. Let's try it again. Ready? Are you starting your note with 2? Good. If you're getting too woofy of a sound, I'll call it, maybe your aperture, that is the opening in your embouchure, your flute face, maybe it's a little too big. Think about spitting your rice. All right, here we go. Let's try some G's together. I'll go first, then you follow me. 1, 2, ready. job. All right. So, spend time playing those three notes, B, A, and G. G, A, and B. Put them any order you want. Write new songs. Just write letters down on a piece of paper and put a title to it and be a composer. Have fun. Play them anyway. Add some fun rhythms with it. And just get really used to playing B, A, and G a lot. Make up any tune you want. So that's what's so great about using a video of something like this. You can always stop, use your time and practice, and then we'll get ready for the next thing, which is some songs. Again, our golden oldie, Hot Cross Buns, we can play that song with the three notes B, A, and G. So hold your flute up to your face and finger B, thumb in one, and let's sing and finger the song Hot Cross Buns. We're going to finger B, then A, then G. All right, those are our first three notes. B, A, G. Rest. Back to B. B, A, G. Then give me four G's. G, 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 G. Four A's. A, 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 B, A, G. B, A, G. Let's sing the song with the words of the song, but I'll keep my fingers up and obvious as to what note they're playing. Okay? Here we go. Hot cross buns. Again. Hot cross buns. Four G's. Here we go. One a penny. Up. Two a penny. Hot cross buns. Nice. Now it's time. Let's try to play it on our flute. Here we go. One, two, ready, B. Back to B. Four G's here. Nice job. Nice job. Our first tune. Got to call the family and play it for them. So our next song to play on the flute would be Mary Had a Little Lamb. Uses the same notes as Hot Cross Buns, B, A, and G. The first part of the song goes B, A, G, A, B, B, B. So we're moving our fingers sequentially down and up, putting down one finger at a time. There's a little more movement to this song, and we do have repetitive notes, but a little more movement, which is fun. So let's try the first half of Mary Had a Little Lamb. That's our starting note. Let's sing the note names and finger it as we go along. B, A, G, A, B, B, B. Now to A. A, A, A. Back up. B, B, B. That's the first half. The second half is very repetitive to the first half. Let's just review the first half one more time. Mary Had a Little Lamb, starting on B, going down to G and back up. Ready? And B, A, G, A, B, 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 A, B, B, B. Great. Let's try playing that first half of Mary Had a Little Lamb. Play your note, make sure it's there, find your sweet spot. You might start off a little windy. So you want to get the tongue going, the air going. Think about your airstream, think about the placement of that head joint, find your sweet spot. You might still be thinking of starting your notes on poo, but try to start now on two. Tongue forward. Here we go. Mary Had a Little Lamb, first half. Starting on B. Good job. Now I am lifting my fingers really high so it's obvious what the fingering is. Remember to keep your fingers close to the keys, something like this. All right, we don't need flying fingers. Great, let's try that half again. Play it with me. All right, make your first sound, make sure it's there. Okay, you ready? Here we go. Starting on B. Ready, and. Good. I think we're ready to start the second half of Mary Had a Little Lamb. So it starts the same way. B, A, G, A, B. Now you have four B's. B, 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 B. Then A, B, A, G, A, hot cross buns. A lot of our beginning songs always end with this hot cross buns theme. So let's try that again. Mary Had a Little Lamb, second half. B, A, G, A, B, 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 A, B, A, G. Nice. Let's try to play that. Play right along with me. Find your sweet spot. Okay, here we go. Ready, and. All right, good job. Now, let's put the whole song together. Mary had a little lamb, little lamb, little lamb. Mary had a little lamb whose fleece was hot cross buns. All right, here we go. From the beginning, the whole song. You can do it. All right, sit tall, relax, find your sweet spot, make a sound. Okay, here we go. Good job. Excellent. All right. Now that we can play 2 songs, let's have a little checkup on some specifics about blowing into the flute. First thing, as you have the head joint to your face, if the head joint is too rolled in, the sound will go low. The pitch that you make will go low. Again, if it rolls out the opposite way, the pitch goes high. So listen to this. You might need some Dramamine. It's a little unstable, right? So you want to make sure you have just enough of the embouchure hole covered by your bottom lip, and that the flute is straight out, keys facing the ceiling, and we're not rolled in. You want these keys facing the ceiling, you don't want them facing the back wall, okay? So make sure your head joint is lined up. It's a very covered sound. We don't want that. Very open, airy, not a very focused sound and very out of tune. We don't want it rolled out. So it has to be like the 3 Bears. It has to be just right. Okay, so watch your head joint. Make sure it's not rolled out or rolled in, that it's just right. And one other thing that we want to have a checkup on, and check this out, check all of these things out with your flute teacher back at home as you're studying. You need to not breathe after every note. If you're doing Mary Had a Little Lamb and you look like this, okay, I have resembled that comment, and you don't want to do that. Take one breath, and let's see how long you can hold that breath for. Can you hold it for 2 beats? We were playing hot cross buns, something at this tempo. I took one breath and played for 2 beats. If I play 2 notes, one for each beat, I'm not going to breathe in between. Just blow consistently. So I'm going to hold 2 beats, and then I'm going to play 2 1-beat notes, but always in one breath. You try that with me. Ready? And we're doing this on the note B, by the way. All right, the note B. Ready? Go. Make sure you don't breathe in between those 2 notes. Try it again. Good. So when you play a tune like Hot Cross Buns, for a beginner, just starting out, the very first tones that they're playing, it's okay to take a breath every 2 beats. Then when you get to the 1 a penny, 2 a penny, those are 4 beats there. Can you play all 4 in one breath? Try it. I'm going to start on G. Woo, that's a long time. If you need to take 1 breath, play 2 notes. 1 breath, play 2 more. We can try that, but keep a good steady beat. Our breath will get longer. We'll be playing 4 beats in one breath very soon, very quickly. You might be able to do it now, but what we don't want to do is take a breath after every note. That's worth 1 beat. Just all those repeated notes. like Mary Had a Little Lamb at the very beginning. That's ideal. One breath, 4 notes. Or one breath, 2 notes. But what we want to avoid is so no breathing like that in between notes. And also keep your embouchure and the aperture, everything just the same. Don't like the guppy breath like I just showed you. Keep it really still. Like you're waiting for somebody to take a picture and they're taking forever. Just keep it very still, okay? You're doing a great job.